Hello and big thank you for applying to the best role in Skyrden, First Officer. Our First Officer helps the captain fly the plane and eat all of the onboard meals. You'll notice when you sit down in the First Officer's seat, a menu pops up on the right side of your screen. Let's understand this UI. There are 5 different pages you can choose from. There is also a slide button for emergency slides. This first one is main page. Here you can control the engines, turn them on or off, adjust the flaps position, activate the spoilers, put on reverse thrust and raise and lower the landing gears. On the lights page, you can control the aircraft's lights. Wow, who would have thought? You have the taxi, navigation, the anti-collision alias beacon lights, the tail logo lights, the takeoff and landing, as well as the strobe lights. The audio page lets you play various of announcements to the passengers. You can either select from the list or use an ID to play a custom one. You can stop the audio with the stop audio button. Wow, George, wouldn't you have thought? The next page is a calls one. Here you can, similar to the audios page, play announcements. However, these are only used to communicate with the cabin crew. The call button plays a single ding dong, indicating that we start descending. The emergency button plays 3 ding dongs, letting the crew that we are in deep sh**. Lastly, we have the others page. Here you can open and close doors as well as anchor the aircraft. The captain will be responsible for inserting the aircraft. You only need to teleport to them with the to command when they ask you to. It is important not to teleport without the captain's permission, as the plane might go on an unexpected journey, just like your dad. Sit down in your seat, turn on the navigation and tail lights, and wait until the aircraft parks at gate. No need for engines to run though, as the buttons on your UI only plays the animation and the sounds. Since there is no passengers, we don't need to care about those. And if you do turn them on, well, just turn them off. Once the plane is parked in its correct position, you need to anchor the aircraft to prevent it acting like who I mentioned earlier. If the editor didn't cut that part out. If it did, let's just say he won't be living anymore. Let the ground crew know that the plane is anchored so that it can start doing their things while you relax on the Bahamas. Wait before you do that, as the ground crew will need your help in some situations in opening and closing things. For example, the cargo door, the front right door, the doors on the left side, and etc.
I'm Rudy Giuliani. If you want to have a really nice or a birthday greeting, or just go to the link below.
There are 2 places where the boarding music can be played on a flight. The home of the boarding music is in the terminal at the gate desk. The gate desk agent controls it, and while that is playing, you must not play it inside the aircraft. However, there will be a time when that goes silent, indicating there are no more passengers left inside the terminal. Therefore, no one at the desk. However, we might still want to let our lovely passengers listen to the boarding music. That's where you come in. Start playing the audio inside the plane until you're told to stop or play the safety audio. Yes, the safety audio. You know how the line goes. Safety is. So when instructed to by the host, be a good boy and play the audio. Once all passengers are safe in my basement and the host says that the cabin is ready, we are ready for pushback. Unanchor the aircraft and turn on the anti-collision beacon lights. This will let the ground crew know that they can begin. While we are moving backwards, turn on the engines. First, start with engine 2. Wait. And then it says running. After that, start engine 1. When the engines are running, the tug is detached and moving away, you can turn on the taxi lights. Set the flaps 1 for long, flaps 2 for short runway takeoff. As well as do a spoiler check by extending them to full and back down. Before we can enter the runway, make sure to play the takeoff call to let our very important cabin crew know that we can crash at any minute from now on. When we cross the runway line, turn on the takeoff and landing lights as well as the strobe lights. The taxi lights will automatically turn off when the gears retract and you won't be able to interact with them. Did you know that there was more than 600 plots to kill Fidel Castro, the Cuban dictator? Or that Thomas Edison was a
Look it up, Edison was a
After the captain gives full thrust, you need to watch your speed and you should call out V1 when the plane is around 10 knots below, and rotate when the plane is at the stall VR speed, which you can see on the insert ID list. Once the aircraft is climbing, you should call out positive climb. If you aren't climbing, that's even better. Pray to whoever you want and die with dignity. Call gear up at around 200 feet and, you guessed it, put the gears up. Before reaching 2000 feet, you should slowly but surely put the flaps up, going one flap at a time. If you only use a single flap, put it around 1500 feet. It is a good time to turn off the takeoff and landing lights as well. If we were to make it to cruise, wait until the plane lands on the cruising pad and then speed is exactly null, which is 0 for you uneducated people. Anchor the aircraft, also call it out in chat and play the cruising call. After this, cabin crew will start serving and you will have nothing to do. Once all cabin services are finished and everyone is seated, the host says we are ready to go, you can unanchor the plane and the captain can begin descending. You should turn on the takeoff and landing lights below 1500 feet. While you're descending, you can slowly start extending the flaps. When you line up with the runway at around 1000 feet, you can lower the landing gears. The moment the plane touches down, you need to extend the spoilers. After a few seconds, you also need to turn on the reverse thrust. These doesn't do anything to the plane, but they look cool. At 60 knots, turn off reverse thrust. You can also retract the spoilers while on or after exiting the runway. Speaking of leaving the runway, you can also turn off the takeoff and landing lights as well as the strobe lights when doing that, and turn on the taxi lights if they aren't already. As the plane taxis to the gate, bring back the flaps as well right when it turns to the gate. Turn off the taxi lights so that our ground crew members can still see.
Please, turn off the taxi lights when turning to the gate. Last year, over 400 ground crew members went blind because of the first officer was a f***ing and didn't turn them off. I haven't seen my wife, my dog, my husband, my children since Entorio 3434 did that to me. This was also the day I lost my virginity. You can donate to the blinded ground crew members by Skyrden first officers here. Thank you.
Once the plane is parked, you can anchor the aircraft and turn off the engines. Once both engines are off, you can also turn off the beacon lights, letting ground crew know that they can do their things. You only need to open the doors that they ask you to. After everyone disembark, you can turn off the remaining lights and leave the plane, or remove it if the host asks you to. That's it. Wow. Voila. Thank you. Bye.